So just for the benefit of expanding on our knowledge with regards to custom formatting, I'm going to be showing you, some interesting things about custom formatting in Excel, mostly for knowledge sake. That means you are not likely to use them in real life. And again, for some of them, you are actually going to, you are going to have a need to use them once in a while. So let's go back to this cell and use our Control 1 to open up the Format Cells dialog box. So I'm just going to clean the code that we have in here for a second, and I'm going to try to define different codes for positive numbers, negative numbers, zeros, and text so that we can see the behavior for each one of these guys. So let's start by defining code for positive numbers. So when I use the hash, comma, hash, 0.00, this is going to allow my positive numbers to be displayed somehow like this with 2 decimal places and 1,000 separator. Then I'm going to use my semicolon to indicate that I'm done formatting the positive numbers. Now for my negative numbers, I could, pull up the square bracket and type in red to indicate that I want my negative numbers to be in red, close the square bracket. Then I want to open parentheses, and I'm going to type in hash, comma, hash, 0.00, then close parentheses. What that simply means is that my negative numbers are going to appear in red and they are going to appear in parentheses, right? Now, when I use my semicolon, that means I'm done formatting negative numbers. The next set of formatting I want to apply is for zeros. So for zeros, I'm just going to put a hyphen there. That means every time I type in 0, I'm going to see a hyphen. Now I'm going to use semicolon to indicate what I want to appear for my text, right? Now you realize that it is not necessary for you to format each one of these guys, right? So for example, if I had formatted only the first section, which is for positive numbers only, that would also be okay. It just simply means that the other ones are going to be defaulted to something, right? So because of this exercise, just for you to see the behavior of these things, I'm trying to, put up a format for what appears when I want to type in text, right? So for my text, I'm going to use something a little bit, out of the ordinary. So I'm going to pull up my double quotes here, and I'm going to type nothing, then close the quotes. And when I click OK, this is what we have because I have a negative number there. So if I have a positive number, 1,000, remember, it's going to show with 1,000 separator and 2 decimal places. If I have a negative number, minus 1,000, I'm going to have, the same kind of formatting for the positive numbers, but this one is going to come in parentheses. Now, when I type in 0, what do you expect to see? You expect to see a hyphen, and that's what you get. And then when I type in a text, so let's type in a text like Excel. What do you expect to see when I press enter? Nothing. And that's because I have basically formatted all my text to always appear with this text, right? And that's why when you look inside the formula bar, you get to see that Excel is what I have typed in, but what you see here is something called nothing, right? So I could go to use my Control 1 and change this nothing to something else. Maybe I'm going to use Ahmed, so just for you to see, when I click OK, now, regardless of anything I type in here that happens to be a text, what will always be displayed is always Ahmed. And that's just for you to see that with custom formatting of cells in Excel, a whole lot can be done. And as an Excel user, someone who is proficient, with the use of Excel, you have to know that not everything you see inside a cell is actually what the cell contains, right? Now you are seeing Ahmed. What is actually inside this cell is Excel. Okay. Now let me just add a couple of more things. So let's go to a different cell and type something like 1,200. Okay. Then I'm going to pull up Control 1 to do this, or maybe let me just change this a little bit. So let's say I'm going to type in let's say 12 million. Okay. So I have 12 million here. Now the keyboard shortcut to quickly format this as a number, because if you check now, you are going to see that this is general. If I want to quickly format this as a number that has two decimal places and 1,000 separator, I'll quickly use Control Shift and 1 on my keyboard, right? So that's 12 million. And when I use Control 1 to go to the Format Cell dialog box, by the time I go to the Custom section, right? On the Custom section, now there are a series of other interesting things that you can use in your code as well. So for example, now if I put 1 comma after this, then this basically is going to delete 3 zeros, right? So it was 12 million before, but putting 1 comma after the code for my positive numbers now basically is going to cancel 3 zeros from there, and it's going to show as what? 12,000, right? Now if I put another 0, then another 3 zeros basically is going to cancel, right? So from 12 million, we have six zeros there. So every single command that you add to the end of this is always going to cancel out 3 zeros, right? Now, what makes this useful? So if I click OK now, I have 12 million in this cell, but what you see in the cell is 12. And this really becomes useful when you add something like this. So if I go back with Control 1, and I'm just going to go to the end of this, and I'll pull up a double quote and I'll type letter M and close the quotes M, right? So when I click OK like this, you are going to see this showing as 12M, right? One other thing. So Control 1 to go back. Actually, if you use this code, semicolon, 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 and you click OK, that will make the content of that cell to disappear, right? You see 12 million there, but in the cell, you actually see nothing.